Good afternoon. This is Dale Smith, Interpersonal Communication Project, HSER 508 513 11. Welcome to the project. Next slide, please. The goal I'll be discussing today is to develop interpersonal communication, a roadmap that will demonstrate appreciation for maintaining an accurate awareness of needs and resources while seeking to develop healthy, healing, and whole relationships. Next slide, please. The objective. Number one, I will identify an overarching goal for my personal life. Number two, describe how my background and behavior blend have influenced my conversations, either positive or negative. Number three, define how I will handle potential barriers when communicating interpersonally. And finally, number four, discuss my personal plan of action to improve interpersonal communication. Next slide, please. Defining interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is the kind of communication that happens when people involved talk and listen in ways that maximize the presence of the personal. Therefore, the personal conversation is so key in communication. Thank you. Next slide, please. This is my personal definition of leveraging conversation. As I define it to enlarge the conversation, must remember the conversation is a relationship. Each conversation we have with our co-workers, significant others, and children either enhances the relationship, flatlines, or take them down. It is therefore vital to give maximum level of attention to our conversation to the people that are most important to us. This also helps develop growth and makes us who we are. And as we launch the conversation over a period of time, conversation adds on and on and on. We always add on to it. Next slide, please. Overarching goals, we have a few. One, be mindful listening. Number two, being a talker without accusing, attacking, labeling, or judging. Number three, being a listener without agreeing, disagreeing, or advising, or defending. Next slide, please. Behavioral blend. As we've seen, we've learned through our readings, there's two sides of behavior blend. One, to the left is what is expected of us from the world. A good listener, dependable attitude, staying stable, and people need you is what people expect of me. This is my mask. On the other side, we have my personality outside the workplace, outgoing and loyal friend, passionate about supporting others, ability to make people feel good and comfortable, cordial inside personality. This is key when dealing with interpersonal communication throughout my life and the workplace, using all these positive attributes to help transfer my thoughts to other people. Next slide, please. But also we have potential barriers. To the left, we have physical barriers, which starts out with fatigue, low energy level. Many times as we're tired, it's hard for us to communicate. And we start to daydream, lack of concentration. Also time lag factor. Talker speaks at 200 words per minute, while we as people listen to 300, 500 words per minute. Semantic barriers, filtered through beliefs, knowledge, education, upbringing. And think of an average person who uses 500 words, yet they have 20 to 25 different meanings, which always can cause confusion. Next slide, please. Staying with semantic barriers, we see past experiences, filters make people anxious to hear something that fulfills his or her wishes and desires. Biased listening, we see labels and forms that are important ahead of time, too boring, too complex. And basically what this means is a lot of times we hear what we want to hear, not truly giving it significant listening. So therefore, this is not true good listening. We have to be conscious of this so the barriers will not impede our progress as far as communicators. Next slide. The plan of action overarching goal is such. Mindful listening. We're talking about mindful listening, we're talking about being in the moment. Actually being there for the person. Retaining information, helping to encourage the speaker to be a respectful process. Also, talking without accusing, attacking, labeling, or judging. The finger method, as we're going to discuss a little bit later. Next slide. Listen without agreeing, advising, or disagreeing. We have one here that stays focused on understanding the talker. Remember, it shifts the focus from talkers to viewpoint to listeners. Advice should be resistant to talkers to talk is through talking and ready to listen. Remember, defending equals attacking. If we start with the bottom, if we start defending equals attacking, therefore we are not truly listening, we're talking. Advice should be resisted. We should resist from giving advice until the talker is finished. Remember, it shifts the focus from talkers to viewpoint listeners. And always stay focused on understanding what the talker is talking about. Next slide, please. Talking about accusing, attacking, labeling, and judging. Again, the finger method points back to us. So I'm not looking as a communicator to win any price, therefore not attacking. To lay blame, I'm not here to accuse. Do not call names or labeling. Do not put others judging beneath us. We're not to judge, we're to listen and help the process along, moving along from talker to speaker in a respectful manner. Next slide, please. This graphs illustrate the progress I'm hoping for as a communicator, starting off with a better listener, then progressing to improve communicator, and finally achieving mastery in interpersonal communication. Next slide, please. In conclusion, to enlarge the conversation must provide purpose for listening. Each time we communicate must be a purpose for listening, or therefore is non-essential. We must understand that we are purposely listening, so therefore the conversation can be enlarged. We must promote that motivation. Listening is extremely important for effective listening. Many times when you hear poor listening, people are not motivated, but to again enlarge the conversation, you should be motivated to understand the process of listening. Finally, for interpersonal communication to work at optimal level, it must always be exchange of listening and talking. And most importantly, as I keep emphasizing, the recurring theme is respect. I want to thank you for allowing me to come into your day, into your world for interpersonal communication. I thank Dr. Lewis for a wonderful course and taking me to this journey of interpersonal communication. I say God bless and good night.